Hey Zoobox Nation, it's Mike here, and today instead of talking about nonsense, we're going to be talking about sports. Today I want to talk to you all about UFC 253 Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. I made a video a few weeks ago about this fight, and I wasn't sure who I was going to pick. I've come to the conclusion of who my pick is going to be, who I think is going to win, and I'm going to tell you why I believe this. I'm going to break it down to you why I'm going to pick this fighter in this fight. Now, let's break this down. Okay, so we have Israel Adesanya, who is probably the best striker, I'm talking about striker, in the UFC all around. So that, you know, in the UFC, I'm not talking about all in mixed martial arts, I'm talking about in the UFC. He's probably the best striker the UFC has as far as kicks, knees, elbow, punches, all of it. He's probably the best striker, all in round. You know, all of the elements of striking, he's probably the best. You know, he has amazing feints, he has amazing hands, he has amazing kicks. This guy is an elite. If there was if there was a belt system in striking, this guy would be a black belt. And not only a black belt in the striking system, but also in his way, because striking is a little bit different in the UFC or in mixed martial arts than it is in kickboxing. And this guy has the best striking from in the UFC from mixed martial arts. Because when you're striking in the UFC and you're a striker like him, you have to know how to strike, and you have to be an excellent counter striker. Because if you're not, and all you can do is strike, and you don't have counter strikes, you're going to get taken down. That's just the bottom line. Like, you will get taken down. You will get taken down if you do not know how to use your footwork and move around and pivot. If you can't do that, you're going to get taken down in mixed martial arts. Because you can't just stand there and weave it, because if you don't move, if you have no movement, no distance control, you will get taken down. So Israel Adesanya in that aspect is the best in the UFC. Guy really ever gets taken down, very hard, very hard to cut off, knows where he's moving, knows how to move, knows how to cut off angles, is a great counter striking, is a great counter striker. Now Paulo Costa he's going to move forward, he's going to pressure you, and he's going to throw huge shots. Now, most people think that Paulo Costa is just this guy that runs in there and throws these giant shots without any accuracy. Well, that's not true. Paulo Costa is actually a very effective puncher. Like he's knocked a lot of people out, and the reason why he can knock people out is not just because of its power. You don't just knock people out because of their power. It's also because you catch them. It's also because you throw something that they don't expect. You hit them with something that they did not see, that they weren't able to prepare for. Yes, power plays a part in that. Yes, can power just knock somebody out? Yes, that can happen. But not all the time. Paulo Costa is not just a power puncher. Like, yes, most of his punches come from power. But he also is accurate, and he also is sneaky with some of them. He's not the best. I'm not saying he's as sneaky as Paulo Costa and all this other stuff. No, but he's not just like this guy that goes in there and just throws bombs. Like, he knows a little bit too. Is he on the same level of striking as Israel Adesanya? No, he's not. Does he have more power? Yes, he does. He does have more power. And that counts for something. So, Paulo Costa is going to walk forward. Paulo Costa is going to put pressure. Paulo Costa is going to eat two shots to hit you with one. That's the kind of fighter he is. And that's who he is. Also, there's a rumor going around. I'm not sure which one to believe. But Paulo Costa says he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Other people are saying he's a brown belt. I don't know who's right, who isn't right. If he's a black belt, brown belt, I don't know. I'm going to take him at his word and say he's a black belt, because why would he lie to us? I mean, he's going to have to go back to his gym, wherever he's a black belt at, in the BJJ community, and be like, hey, I don't think he would lie. I don't think he would lie about that unless he was trying to mess with Israel Adesanya's head by saying that. But even if you're a brown belt, black belt, I mean, yeah, there is a little bit of a difference. But if you're a brown belt, you're pretty damn good. You're really good, actually. If you're a black belt, yeah, you're good. Everybody knows that. But a brown belt's right below it. I mean, there are some brown belts out there that should be black. There's some brown belts out there that are like 10 times better than black belts because they're more athletic. They understand things better. They can move better. Their body's shaped different, whatever it may be. So just because you're a brown, black belt, yeah, they're both really, whatever he is, he understands Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If he's a brown belt, he understands it. If he's a black belt, he understands it. I don't think there is a difference, but the difference is very slim as far as, it's whatever he is. If he's a black belt, that's what I'm going to believe him as because that's what he told us. That's what he said. So he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And this brings me to the reason of who I'm going to pick for my winner. So when I look at this fight, I analyze it. Okay, how can Israel Adesanya win this fight? Israel Adesanya can win this fight by outstriking Paulo Costa. By stepping, picking, moving, counter-striking, hitting, kicking his legs, doing all of that stuff to outstrike him. And going the distance. All of the 5 rounds and winning basically a point fight. That's what I think. That's how I see Israel Adesanya winning this fight. If Israel Adesanya is going to win this fight, he's going to either win it. He's going to win it by a decision made by the judges. So he's going to have to take it the distance, and he's going to have to outstrike him. And that's the only way I see Israel Adesanya winning this fight, is going the distance and winning by the judges. I don't see him knocking Paulo Costa out. I don't see him submitting him. I don't see any of that. So that's one way that he can win. Paulo Costa has 3 ways to win. Paulo Costa can win in a decision. It's very unlikely. It's not, I think that if it goes to a decision, if the fight does go to a decision, I think that Israel Adesanya would have the edge. Most likely. I think if it went to a decision, most likely Israel Adesanya is going to land more strikes, and he's going to have. I think the judge. I think he would land a lot more strikes. Let's just say that. But that doesn't mean that Israel Adesanya cannot win in a decision. We've all seen judges make horrible calls. We've all seen these judges just. Sometimes you watch a fight and you're like, what? How did you pick that guy to win? Like, what are you talking about? So, Paulo Costa can win in a decision. And Paulo Costa actually could win in a decision, even if, the judges may even score right and have him win. Because Paulo Costa can win that way. If Paulo Costa throws more significant strikes, if Paulo Costa in the last 2 rounds, I know a lot of people question his cardio, but if he puts it on, in the last 2 rounds, I mean, we could see him win in a decision, fairly or unfairly, whatever it may be. But he has that way to win. He can win by a knockout. Paulo Costa has the power to knock Israel Adesanya. Is it likely? No, because I think Israel Adesanya is slick and I think he can move really well. But if Israel Adesanya gets caught, Paulo Costa can knock him out. That is true. Paulo Costa could also submit him. If Paulo Costa is a brown or a black belt, whatever he may be, and Israel Adesanya is only a blue belt, if you ever rolled with the blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or a brown belt or a black belt, you will know that there is a huge difference between a blue belt and a black belt. There just is. And I understand that Jiu-Jitsu is a lot different in mixed martial arts than it is in just the sport of Jiu-Jitsu. It is, because there's kicking, there's punching on the ground, there's elbows, there's knees, not knees, but there's elbows on the ground and all of that stuff. But if you're a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you're rolling with the blue belt, even if there are allowed to be punches thrown and elbows thrown on the ground, you still have a huge advantage over that blue belt. You just do. I'm sorry to say this, but if you want to know, and if you don't believe me, go into a Jiu-Jitsu academy, go roll with the blue belt, and then go roll with the black belt or a brown belt. You will be surprised how big of a difference there is. So, if Paulo Costa gets this fight to the ground, he could submit Israel Adesanya. He could take Israel Adesanya out with a submission. I don't think the other way around. I don't think Israel Adesanya can submit Paulo Costa. If Paulo Costa is a black belt, if he really is, and Israel Adesanya really is a blue belt, there's just no way he's going to submit him on the ground. There just isn't. I'm sorry, but it's just, when you get to these levels and you understand these levels, there is just a huge difference, like a giant difference between a blue belt and a black belt on the ground. There just is. And even a blue belt to a brown belt, there is just, the level is just, it's way different. It's way different. When you are in a brown belt or a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you understand things that the blue belt just doesn't understand. You can move your body in a different way than the blue belt can. You just can. I don't know why. It's muscle memory, whatever it may be. You just have a way bigger knowledge of grappling of grappling in general when you're at that level. So that's why I'm picking Paulo Costa to win this fight. I think he has more ways to win. And if I'm analyzing it and I'm thinking it and I'm going through it in my head, I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, everyone's picking Israel Adesanya, but Israel Adesanya only has one way to win. Paulo Costa has multiple ways to win. I've just named you 3 of them. 3 solid ways that he can win. 3 solid ways that I know for a fact he could win that way. Okay, he can win that way. All 3 of those ways that I just said, he could win that way. I don't think Israel Adesanya can knock him out, and I don't think Israel Adesanya is going to submit him. I just don't. I don't believe it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But if I'm picking this fight, and I'm going to pick it, I'm picking Paulo Costa. I know that that's not going to be a popular pick. I know that people are going to think I'm crazy. I know that people are going to be like, oh my goodness, why you... But just look at it. He has more ways to win. He has more in his arsenal to win this fight, I believe. Now, is it going to be hard? Yeah. But I believe that Paulo Costa is going to come out with the win. And also, I've been watching the press conferences. Paulo Costa just looks... It seems like Israel Adesanya is a little bit scared of him. A little bit scared of his power. I don't know if this is me reading into it, but Paulo Costa looks very comfortable. He looks very ready. He looks ready to go. And I think he's going to win. I think Paulo Costa is going to win. That's who I'm picking. Anyway, Zoobox, if you found this video helpful, hit the like button. If you want to see more of these videos, subscribe. I'm going to be making a lot more, so subscribe. Okay? Also, I want to know your pick. I want to know who you're picking. So leave a comment and tell me. And tell me who you're going to pick to win the fight. Tell me who you think is going to win the fight. And I want to know reasons. I don't just want to know I'm picking Israel Adesanya. Well, why are you picking Israel Adesanya? Tell me why. Tell me why you believe Israel Adesanya is going to win. And if you're picking Paulo Costa, tell me why you think Paulo Costa is going to win. Leave a comment. Please subscribe and hit the like button.